Hey, first off, thank you for the welcome. I'm not gonna try to defend the garbage that my team put on the court in the second half last night. I want to give proper respect to the Knicks. You guys had a good game. The team looks formidable. I got four things to say. You got an ice cold killer point guard, footwork better than the Dread Pirate Roberts. You got Cat, who is finally becoming the court tilting earth mover his name suggests. We shouldn't be thinking about the little pussy cats. We should be thinking about caterpillar earth movers. When that guy goes up for a jam, when he's just cold elbowing people halfway across the court on his way, that's what we always believed he could do. You know what? We all love Cat in Minnesota. We will always love Cat in Minnesota. And I'm excited to see what Mike Brown is doing with him. And you're gonna unlock a dangerous man in that guy. And then third thing, oh my, that guy can move. And then finally, Mitchell be robbing these sons of rebounds. What is going on? Like I watched in the nail in the coffin at 3:52 in the fourth quarter. Clark, this little guy, young guy, going out, he guarded Jalen all the way. It was like 12, 15 seconds on Jalen. Forced from the midcourt, forced him off to the baseline, put up a bad shot. I saw Jalen look up. Man, Mitchell just put one elbow on Randall, the other on Nas, grabbed that board, and Jalen's head went down. Game was over. I gotta give respect to the Knicks. You guys were great last night.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for real. Like, it's cool because rarely do you ever have someone on your show from the fan base that one of your best players just came from, and kind of talk and see what you guys are seeing, and that's why I've wanted to do this enemy territory in every segment. People are like, yeah, but you could use more of that time to talk Knicks. And I'm like, yeah, but what we're saying is the same as a lot of other Knicks fans. I want to know what the rest of the league sees when they see the Knicks, and, some of the guys that we've had up, they wanted to test the Knicks and say that the Knicks were going to be nothing. And I wagered some whiskey and, they've all lost so far this season to me, which has been great because my whiskey collection's growing at the hands of whiskey influencers. But I love the fact that you came up humbly and, you're able to see because Cat does look different, when he played the way that he played these last two games, he looks like the guy that we've always wanted him to be. And I think, and I want your opinion on this, I think him developing a three-point shot kind of gave him the crutch to not be the tough guy that he needed to be a lot of places. And when you guys got Rudy and partnered him with Rudy, you guys excused that lack of aggression, that lack of bully ball, because you were like, well, at least we have a tough defender and someone that's going to hold his own offensively in the paint while Cat doesn't.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But what I saw last, and so I'm going to say 100%. Rudy took the pressure off Cat. He's strong, man. This guy is stronger, faster, more agile, better touch than everybody but 4 guys on the court at any one time. But that's not his natural inclination. He's a finesse player. He's a finesse player in a wrecking ball body. And so what I saw last night was not just the three-pointer. It's running the offense through Cat. The number of dishes that he was doing last night, that was the difference. He had a couple spectacular jams over Rudy, over Ant, over Julius. He had some statement jams. But you're going to get those. A guy that big, he gets positioning. There's not much you can do. What I was excited about last night was seeing his basketball intelligence, right? His understanding, the defender's coming this way, so I'm going to dish down, or I'm going to do an over the head, right? Or behind the back. That's what I saw unlock last night. That really makes me fear Cat going forward, and what you guys I think should be really excited about.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Apollo?
I think, and that's kind of what I was gonna ask is because I was watching. I'm telling anybody I was watching on a Minnesota stream. So I was watching the game and I was listening. Right? I was listening to their broadcast, and it's weird listening to someone else talk about your team positively when they're playing. And so first of all, credit to those guys because they were really talking really good basketball. It wasn't biased. They were talking good basketball. So it was a pleasure to listen to, unlike a lot of other teams that I'm forced to watch sometimes. Broadcasts I'm forced to watch. But they were kind of excited to see the growth in Cat and the things that he's starting to do that he wasn't doing there, that they wanted to see him do. So it's to see him finally, like I said, feed into what he's doing and get into the post, because like watching the game versus Milwaukee, when what's his name, Kyle Kuzma had him on the perimeter and he couldn't back him down. I'm like, something's up. Like, what is going on here? You're stronger than Kyle Kuzma, bro.
You're bigger. That's not how he plays. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like that's the key, and that's what I think Mike Brown sees. He's not Julius, right? He's Cat. He's not a 1-to-1 in your grill. Right. I'm gonna outwill you. I'm gonna outpower you. That's just not his temperament. And when you work with his temperament, which is a sensitive person, and I don't think being sensitive is bad. He's reading things. Like he cares a lot, right? So if that's what you do, but if you give him a lane, if you get him moving, right, in the direction, if he's got that momentum going and you give him the ball in the right place or he sees the opportunity, then there's 2-3 guys that can stop him that are strong enough to stop him.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. So that's what I feel like Mike Brown is really unlocked, and you can see it. And the other thing about Cat, he's not the quickest processor. You know what I mean? He's a game management big. He's not a on the fly, be creative. Like you force him into a situation where he's got to make a split second judgment about what he's supposed to do. You're going to get the silly fouls. You're going to get being out of position. Don't play to that. Like, I know you want him to be that because you feel like he could be that.
Right.
Don't do that. That's just not his game. But when you've got Mitchell Robinson, when you've got OG, and when you've got especially the brain of Jalen Brunson running that offense and understanding how the position, you got Hart running around, you got McBride off the bench. Like you have so many players that he can understand how to use in the way that that goes to his strength. Sorry, I don't mean to take it over.
No. I love it. I love
Cat in Minnesota. There is not a human being in Minnesota that wishes Cat any ill.
Wow.
And I understand the Knicks fan base is not something I would ever want to be subject to, so be easy on me tonight. But you give that guy, you let him be Cat and don't try to fit him into what you think a guy that big and that strong should be. And he's going to blow doors. Like he's going to do it. And I think we saw a glimpse of that last night.
When you say he's a finesse player, and we're going to bring Christy up right after this point. When you say he's a finesse player, I think so many times people don't realize how that can still be powerful and, have a dominance to it, because some of the best bigs were finesse players. You look at Hakeem Olajuwon, he wasn't built like Shaquille O'Neal. He wasn't dunking on everybody every single play, but he was a nightmare to guard in the paint because he can dunk on you. He can hit you with the hook. He can, do a fade midi, like he had so many things that were finesse moves, but they were dominant finesse moves. And same thing with Dirk, like when you get Dirk, you're not looking at Dirk Nowitzki and going, oh, Tim Duncan style basketball. Like, no, he wasn't doing that, but he had power when he was in the paint and finesse. Power and finesse can work together. And I feel like for too long, those two things have been separated by the coaching of Karl Anthony Towns. It's been, let's focus on your finesse or let's focus on your power. And neither coach has focused on both. And I think in these last few games, we've seen that he can be both. So let the player do what he can actually do.
And be was both. The worst coach for Cat in Minnesota and in New York, right? Like he didn't understand that Karl is strongest when he's using leverage. That's the finesse part, right? When you're just body against body, that's not his game. But you give him a little angle, like we saw it all game last night. Like he was just dunking over dudes, not because he was straight on, but because he found just a little angle, and no one could do anything about it.
Yeah,
because he's long, he can go right around you. He fits into certain spaces that other centers just can't do. That's
a great way to say it. Yeah, he fits into spaces other centers can't. That's beautiful. That's perfect.